Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. And I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And much peace and blessings and salutations to the elect and also the brethren that are scattered abroad, the four corners of the earth, preaching the truth in sincerity. All right. And I will put this topic on my spirit. We go over topics sometimes. But just thinking about, the state that we're in as a nation. And a lot of our problems, and when I say our, I mean Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, a lot of those troubled teenagers that we see. Okay, so that's what I was thinking about, because we the brothers, we be joking about these young so-called black men, these teenagers, young men growing up without fathers, and we call them young ninjas. How they go around and commit violent acts, vicious acts. And I woke up with it on my spirit, and a lot of their problems stem from not having a father in the household. And that is a curse, according to the book of Deuteronomy 28. And the Lord cursed us for not being obedient. And when you see the state of our women too, it's lack of a father in the household. Okay, it says in the United States today, more than 23 million children live in a single parent family. This total has risen over the last half century and currently covers about 1 in every 3 kids across America. It says, but a number of long-term demographic trends have fueled this increase, including marrying later, declining marriage rates, increasing divorce rates, and an uptick in babies born to single mothers. And these are all things that plague the so-called black community, Latino community, Native American community, more so black and Latinos. But nevertheless, as a nation of people, it hits us hard, because the scripture said that it will be strife in the household between the man and the woman. All right, it says within single parent families, most children, 14.3, live in mother-only households. More than 6 million kids live without cohabiting parents, and about 3.5 million kids live in father-only households. Okay. Now here's the race of people that live like this: Black and American, Indian, it says, or Alaska Native, which is the so-called Indian tribes. Kids are most likely to live in single parent families. Why is that? Why is just these group of people? Why do we have the highest rate? See, these are questions that when you ask certain people, when you ask the naysayers about why does certain of these statistics that we bring out, it continues to plague a certain race of people. Why is that? Because the Lord cursed us. It says with 63% and 50% of these children respectively fitting this demographic. So over 63% of black and American, so-called black people, they live in single parent households. They don't have a complete family. Okay. Jumping down to the northern tribes, Latino children, and they call it multiracial kids, fall in the middle with 42% and 39% of kids from these groups respectively living in single parent families. Okay. And no one on this planet has a higher rate of single parent homes. All right. No one. Let's get the scriptures. Deuteronomy 28. All right. Deuteronomy 28:54. It says, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother. And you see that what? Now, being gunned down in the streets, what they call it, so-called black on black crime. And right, when you go to our neighborhoods, what? You see just shootouts and robberies. But these same group of men or teenagers, they won't go and rob the so-called white man. Why is that? Because of the curses. Right? He'll look at a so-called white man and let him walk all through his hood. But as soon as he see you, his eyes is lasered on you. When actually, the so-called white man has 3 or 4 or 5 times more money, statistically speaking, than the so-called black man. So what's going on? Well, it's the curses. It says, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. So a lot of our men, they don't put up with the so-called black woman, right? He get caught dealing with another woman, and the woman, they separate. She put him on child support. The same old cycle, the same old shit that's been going on for decades, right? It's always tension in the Israelite house. Why is that? Because of the curses, right? And to be honest, sometimes we can blame certain things on the curses because it is true. But sometimes, our people don't have conflict resolution skills. We don't know how to communicate with each other. We don't know how to communicate with our spouses. We don't know how to communicate with no one. When we don't get our way, we instantly go into act like a little bitch. A lot of our men can't effectively communicate their emotions. They can't effectively communicate how they're feeling. And that's a curse. Why don't they know how to effectively communicate? Because they've never seen their fathers effectively communicate their feelings and how they feel and what they expect and what they want. Because we didn't have that guidance growing up. How the hell you know how to do something if you never... Now, I will say, how do you know how to do it if you never seen anybody else do it? But there are people that wants change. They don't want to be like how their parents were. Right? We got to do better as well. Because it's easy to just, the curses, which the curses is true now. Don't get it twisted. Statistically speaking, our community is plagued with single parent households. And there's nothing we can do about that until the Lord comes back. Because we have friction in our households. All right, jumping down. Deuteronomy 28:56. It says, the tender and delicate woman among you, which will not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil towards the husband of her bosom, and toward her son and toward her daughter. And this is what you see growing up. This is what you see when a woman has to raise a whole family by herself. She tends to take it out on her children. She takes it out on her children when she gets home. She's not in the best mood because a woman was never meant to take on that type of burden alone. A woman was never meant and created to raise a family on her own. That's a burden. And that's something that the Lord has given to a man, because the Lord equipped a man to be able to deal with that type of, lifestyle. A woman is just supposed to help. So everything's out of order. Everything's out of course. The whole earth is out of course. A woman should not be raising a family alone. It's not her lot. It's not her job. She is here to help the man raise his family. She's not supposed to be doing it on her own. And this is why you got women, men. Nowadays you got this what they call gender war. You got this gender war going on where men are complaining on podcasts about women, and women is complaining about men. And women don't want to bend. And you got your point, and we got Look, the Lord's going to fix all this when he comes back. Ain't going to be no fucking gender wars in the kingdom. Ain't going to be none of that. Well, you know, it's different now when that, look, man, you ain't fucking arguing with no woman in the kingdom, man. All right. This is heritage.org. It says the real root cause, because let's get to the point. What's the root cause of all this violence? The root cause of it is what? The breakdown of marriage. And marriage is what? A man and a woman being together. And that's not what you see in our community. The breakdown of marriage. Family and the community. And that's true. Because in the ancient world, we actually had a community of people. There wasn't just no, oh, well, them, that's your children and you gonna know. It wasn't like that in the ancient world, because in the law, if you had a slothful and stubborn son who didn't want to work, he just wanted to eat all day, you were supposed to drag him out, you know, after he was rebuked, after he was told. If he didn't want to listen, you were supposed to drag him out to the elders, and everybody's supposed to stone him. The community was supposed to rid evil out of Israel. And that's gone. No one wants to discipline or chastise their child anymore. So what do we have growing up? A bunch of GMO babies. You got a bunch of GMO babies going on. Let me get some of these points. It says over the past 30 years, the rise in violent crime parallels the rise in families abandoned by fathers. High crime neighborhoods are characterized by high concentration of families abandoned by fathers, and that's where it comes from. You got all these violent little young teenagers because they don't have a father. It says state-by-state analysis by Heritage Scholars indicates that a 10% increase in the percentage of children living in single-parent homes leads typically to a 17% in juvenile crime. The rate of violent teenage crime corresponds with the number of families abandoned by fathers. See, Esau already ran these statistics. He knows. And that's why he gave you feminism. Right? Well, let me get this scripture. Scripture speak about what? Binding the strong man. Oh, I spelled bind wrong. Bear with me. I forgot where it's at. Okay, where is that? Oh, here we go. Matthew 12 and 20. All right. Let me see. Here we go. Mark 3 and 27. It says, no man can enter into a strong man's house and spoil you his goods. Right? Because if you come into a strong man's house and you try and spoil his goods, and that strong man gonna whoop your ass. Except he will first bind the strong man and then he will spoil his house. So Esau was able to spoil the house through what? Eve. By manipulating Eve. Just as the serpent and Eve in the garden, he was able to do it all over again. This plan only worked by the seduction of a woman. The tag team partners are back again. So he was able to get the man out of the house by using Eve. And then he was able to destroy a nation of people by doing this. He was able to destroy us from within because Esau knew that this would lead to a violent neighborhood, a bunch of criminals growing up, and psychological. And it's more than just violence. You don't know the psychological effects of not having a father. You don't even know them. Like a lot of us were raised without fathers. I myself was raised without a father or a mother. right? The psychological effects of that, of not being raised with your mother or your father, of course is damaging. And only God knows how that affects us. You know, you don't know. Because you're not supposed to be raised without a mother or a father. So really, we're just, we're just trying to hang in there, man. We're just trying to hang in there. And statistically speaking, these are just some of the statistics behind not having a father. It basically turns these teenage young boys into little monsters. Because at a certain age, a woman can't handle a young boy, a young man. He's going to stop listening to her. Because what? He knows, I ain't listening to her. And even if she try to beat me, it ain't going to hurt anyway. So what eventually happens? She gives up. And she just lets him roam the streets. Because it's nothing she can do. She's at the mercy of him. Because he's a young man now. It says, the type of aggression and hostility demonstrated by a future criminal often is foreshadowed in unusual aggressiveness as early as age 5 or 6. Because a lot of us that were raised without our parents, we experienced some type of anger and frustration. I know I did growing up. And I know plenty of other brothers and sisters, they, felt the same thing. And to be honest, to this very day, you never heal from that. You never heal from that. And I'm speaking from personal experience. I'm 35 years old. And I'm still damaged from not being raised by a mother and a father. The only way I can be healed from that is when Yahweh Shah gets back. So you got a whole bunch of little demonic, teenagers without guidance. And this is why you have violent neighborhoods. We need Yahweh Shah. It's not that much counseling and therapy in the world that can't suffice for the things that we have been through as a nation. Only divine intervention can heal us. Right? And until Yahweh Shai get back, that's all we got. This is all we got to endure it. Right? And really, a woman is not supposed to raise a man. So yeah, we'll say Keisha's raising these demons. Well, she is. I don't need no man. But she's spawning out these little GMO babies by the hundreds of thousands. Because she was seduced by the serpent. All right, I don't want this to be too long and drawn out.